So the question today, can I put VS control arms and suspension onto the VH? Right, so I have here the VH suspension. At the moment, obviously round top, suspension mounts straight down onto this nut here with the ball joint, onto the control arm. You've got your Z bar or radius rod, and we've got a sway bar also mounted to the control arm. And obviously this hub is all one piece, including the bearing and everything. Now, can we fit a VS style hub onto that? So, different setup. We've got, oh, sorry, it goes that way up. Suspension mounting here. We have a bearing that's unboltable here. The ball joint goes straight through, different setup, into that hole. Steering arm should be the same, and this is its matching control arm. So as you see, ball joint goes straight up, no worries. Now this is about, I don't know, 20 mil or so wider out than the VH one, which is what we're going for a little bit of extra camber on the race car. And this should line up as well, because I know all the engine K-frames are the same. So if I hold this up in the right spot where that bolt is, more or less, I mean, it's hard to see, but it's a little bit wider, or it'll be a wider track, which should equate to more camber. The only question is whether I can swap the tops of the suspension onto the VH ones, and then we'll have to work out a way to mount the sway bar as well. Okay, so I managed to get the VH strut assembly out. As you can see, attached to the hub. Isn't as ideal, and this is VS standard shock, VH adjustable strut top, and the nut that goes on top, but unfortunately just doesn't fit the width. This one's a little bit wider, so yeah, that doesn't work. But you know, maybe I can drill that out. It's just a bearing, and there should be enough room in there. And then I'll be able to slide this on top, and then hopefully that would work. Not sure. So, plot thickens. I managed to get a hold of some S13 coilovers, which were busted. So they were only 50 bucks, but you can see the height is not the same. There's lots of difference there, so I don't know how they can be interchangeable. Possibly the coilovers are different and you just have to expect a drop, but I'll bolt them in and see what they do. So I've got the VS control arm bolted in. Obviously there's no sway bar mount onto here. Now I don't have these bolted in at the top. I've just got the whole thing supported on a jack at the moment, but they're very, very short. As you can see, we're still a strut top bolt away from going through. These holes are actually smaller, and the bolts do not fit in, they're too wide. So, even with that in mind, it's still very, very low, and that's on pretty much the max height that you can get out of this coilover. The strut does not come out anymore, so yeah, that sits very, very low, and I can't even get the wheel on. So yeah, consensus is teen coilover, too short. Bolts up here, the top's different bolt size, they're larger. Don't want to drill out my VH ones at the moment, and there's nowhere to mount the sway bar, so I'm going to go for a mix between the VH and the VS struts. VS bottom onto a VH top. I'll get a custom coilover made up like that, and that should be perfect. But yeah, these teens, internet said they fit, bolt up perfect. They don't. So, suspension upgrade begins now. Got some brand new bushes to go in the lower control arms and the Z bars or radius rods. I need to drill out the old ball joints, so I've got some new ones coming. So today replacing those and those. Yeah, see how we go. Alright, we've got the socket, control arm and some tube. Just pushing through the center section, but hopefully that brings everything else with it. Fingers crossed. Unless it's moving in. Looks like the rubber's not really moving though. Cool, getting my socket stuck, probably. Oh, we got most of it out. That worked. as you can see, left some remnants of bush down the bottom there, and it got a bit mangled on the way out, but that's okay because we got new ones. Slowly. As long as you keep it all very straight, it does go through, even though it doesn't look like it's going to. Oh, now it's getting tough. So last you saw I was having some trouble putting the bushes into the control arms with the vise. Look, it's not the best way to do it, and I ended up breaking the vise because the bush just didn't want to come out. That does not want to budge. So I ended up taking the control arm to a shop and using the hydraulic press, which was a lot easier. So here's the result. Now I have a couple of bushes in the control arms, left and right, and it's been a bit of a delivery day. So we've got some other bits and pieces to go with the front end suspension conversion, including VS tie rod ends. We have some ball joints as well to go on the ends of those. Have some camber bolts because I was missing some, and I think it's good to replace them anyway. Some other front bushes to go on the front of the Z bar, and we have a nice 30mm sway bar from Whiteline, which is adjustable. So a few goodies there. Moving over to this side though, this was the most fun delivery that I got all week, and you can probably guess what it is already. But we have some custom BC coilovers. So we have VH strut tops with all the correct size threads coming out of there, and that goes down to a VS bottom, or VT, VZ, it's all pretty much the same, that'll bolt up there. So advantages of this, it's going to suit my application perfectly. I have a mount for the brake calipers and sway bars. The bottom bolts in, the length is about right. The only thing they couldn't do was warrant it because they had to change the internal diameter size of the thread in here that sticks out, because that's a little bit bigger on the VT to VZ. But apart from that, she should fit up nice and sweet. Pretty comprehensive kit. Got the adjustable tops for the rears, the sway bar links, adjustable height for the springs, front coilover, some more C-spanners, ×2. Should be a fun day of installs. Been looking forward to this for a long time. New control arms nearly ready to go in. Hopefully this side goes in a lot easier than the other side. Yeah, we're gonna need the jack. Could be it, that could be it. Yep. So encountered another problem with this, that the tie rod end isn't long enough, and that's bolted in. We've still got, I don't know, 30mm or something, and that rack's pretty much in the center. So yeah, we need some sort of extension of some description. So yeah, there's another puzzle to solve in the next couple of weeks. So that's the end of another day. We got a fair bit done, got the bulk of the work done between myself and Uncle Luke. All the coilovers are in. Still got the rears to do, and yeah, she'll be good to go. I'll fill you in. So we got the VH tie rod out, or sorry, VN. This is a VN rack that I put in, and we've got a brand new VS one. As you can see, it's, you know, the 20mm longer that we need, or 30mm, and it's also M16 thread as well. Right, rear suspension going in. Got the height adjustable coils. Now we just have to adjust the height once all four wheels are on the ground. So the coilover is sitting about 50mm too high, so I'm lowering it down. At the top here, that's locked off together. That's your spring preload adjuster. And then down the bottom here, my measurement is 55mm between these two. So I'm winding the whole strut down into the bottom here, and that adjusts your ride height. So it's a little bit slow going, but we'll get there. But yeah, got to twist the whole shock into the base. So got the coilovers in and dropped them down 50mm. So we've got about 2 fingers gap in here, which is what we want. We don't want to go super low because headers hang low enough as they are. The back is sort of sitting at where it was before, just tucks underneath. So we think that's pretty much good, and that's where it was set at, sort of halfway down the spring seat adjuster. So here we are under the car, all finished with the suspension upgrade. We've got the white line sway bar, 30mm, nice and thick. We've got the new control arm mounts, both sides, and the one that you can't see down the back here. I've got VS rack ends as well as tie rod ends mated to the VS hub, and then we also have BC coilovers as well. So after we completed doing all the coilovers and the VS front end conversion, all the sway bars, as well as installing the roll cage from beforehand, I wanted to get the suspension tuned and set up properly, and also I wanted to get the car corner balanced because I had no idea where the coilovers were at. I don't know how to tune them or get it, set up correctly. So I enlisted the help of a friend, and yeah, he was able to come over and yeah, sort it out without too many dramas. Right. So corner weighting today. So we've got a pretty good starting point. When Dad's in the car, it was 51.22. So we're going to go up a bit in the right rear and down a bit in the left rear and see what that does.
That's one down.
That's pretty close now.
That's about
50.06. Oh, lovely.
Well, it's good to know that the math was right.
That's true.
Spot on.
Spot on. That's pretty good. So the corner weighting got done. Wasn't too much of a hassle. It was pretty much a good split as it was, and didn't need too much adjustment to get that magic 50-50 split or close to it on the crossweight. After that, took the car to Wilkinson's suspension to get all the camber sorted out. Had miles too much in the front right and then not enough in the left. So they were able to sort that out. I think it ended up with about -3.5 on the fronts. The only thing they couldn't sort out, and I was told to remedy, was to get some adjustable caster arms. Yeah, it's the one thing that I was sort of missing in the whole VS front end conversion. They were able to come up with a quick fix, which was to rotate the strut tops, which meant that I would get about -1.5 degrees or -1.3 degrees of caster, but we were looking for a little bit more apparently, according to them. So stuff I don't know, it's all a learning experience for me. So they said, yeah, get onto some adjustable caster arms, the Z arms, and then they can fix it up from there and it'll be absolutely sweet. But we're gonna run with this setup as it is for now, and yeah, time to take it to the track, and he's hoping we can get some PBs out of it. I've just been out for my first timed run in the VH and looks good. The car handles really flat. It's good balance between understeer and oversteer. Just sits nice and flat through the corner. So yeah, the coilovers doing their trick. And I already got a PB. I've got a 107.7, and that's with a nice big lock up at the end of at the bottom of the hill at turn 7. So had a little bit of oversteer issue after that. Felt like the rear tyres had less grip. So I've adjusted the rebound rate on the rears, made it a little bit softer, and hopefully that will reduce a little bit of my oversteer. So we'll see how that goes, but all in all, bloody lovely. Loving the coilovers. The front end conversion, definitely worth it. How did that feel? How's this handling?
Yeah, definitely slippery on the back.
Yeah?
I was losing the back a fair bit, but
okay.
It felt good otherwise. But yeah, I definitely noticed it slipping out at the top of the hill up there.
Okay.
When you first turn right, you know.
See if we can adjust that as well.
Yeah.
Well, it's not the way I wanted to end the video, but I got a PB, but also binned the car, as you'll see. Came in, had a bit of brake fade off turn 7 coming down the hill, but it was the last lap, so I sort of was able to drive out of it, cross the line, and then just had no brakes. Put my foot down, nothing. Jammed the brake pedal like crazy to try and pump up the fluid, but got nothing. And then instead of going straight where the bitumen is, I veered a little bit to the kitty litter to actually try and slow down a bit. It sort of took the front left wheel, spun me around 180, and then ended up doing a little jump over the grass and then sort of down and into the tyre barrier, and it just did like the old tilt up. I'm okay though. Might have a sore neck tomorrow, but feel fine. I don't know how fast I was going or anything, and didn't have the GoPro recording for the first time. The boys reckon good news is the chassis rail's not twisted. The motor and everything's fine. Even the radiator's fine. It's just this part here is bent over a little bit on the chassis rail. Not sure if you can see it.
Probably a new mudguard with new headlight assembly.
Yeah, the bumper will come out,
back out again.
and the radiator support panel. Tiny little bend here, but I think the bonnet's alright.
Yeah.
All the wheels are debeaded. Apparently all the coilovers are good, and I can't even see underneath there. Let's see, can we see anything? I think it all looks alright under there. We'll do a better inspection later. Mirror. Door's okay, the door opened before. Grass everywhere. Anyway, could have been a lot worse, and I've definitely seen and heard a lot worse stories. So, pretty happy I'm okay to walk around and do everything. But yeah, a bit sad, a bit angry at the same time. The only plus that comes out of it is I got a PB. So that was a 106.8. So yeah. Look, even the exhaust, when we did a little jump, it must have compressed that. Oh, squashed, debeaded tyres. And just all this dust came up and I couldn't see anything. I was just a passenger and I was just waiting to hit something, which obviously did. But yeah, what a mess. But yeah, that's what the cage is for. That's what the Hans is for. It's like kitty litter did its job mostly, so yeah. Well, that's it. The coilovers work. If anyone wants to do a coilover conversion, get it done. Do the VS fronts. It all works. But yeah.
Shame about the brakes.
Yeah, brakes. We'll have to look into that next time. All right. See ya.